Everybody, you're listening to Matt and Chris's Sidetracked.
I'm gonna kill you.
Today's episode,
I'm just gonna punch you right in the throat.
We're gonna be watching the Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode, The Storyteller. Yeah, we're Deep Space Nine. Did you guys know we're gonna watch a Deep Space Nine episode this episode?
Wait, this isn't a Star Wars podcast? Because you said the name of a Star Wars podcast at the beginning is what you said. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So Deep Space Nine, episode 14 from the first season. We are talking about this episode, The Storyteller. And this week we are joined once again by our wonderful friend Mike of Bacon fame.
Huzzah.
Just got his company in grocery stores. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mike's
Probably by the end of the
upstart.
month, we'll have our bacon available for purchase in a couple of stores locally and grow from there.
Pretty
He's a grower,
awesome.
not a shower.
We'll be showing later.
Yeah.
Show me that meat.
Yeah, so we're back here again, and
This podcast sponsored by Mike's Bacon Meat.
Thick cut quality meat you can bring home to your family.
well, if you want to find it for real, it's Nash Family Bacon, and you can find it online. And I don't know if you're ever going to be doing online orders. I gotta imagine that can't be easy. But
Well, we actually have been doing online orders. We've had a couple of people have us like ship to like California and Texas because they're like, yeah, we're going out of town to visit family. Can you ship it? And I'm like, it's going to be like $60 for shipping and handling. They're like, yeah, that's fine. I'm like,
wow,
yeah.
You pack it
that's
with dry
incredible.
ice.
Yeah, it's like because you got to put it in like a styrofoam container inside of a box with dry ice. It has to get there in 2 days, so 2-day air minimum. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, check out Nash Family Bacon, and unfortunately, no bacon on this episode, but plenty of fat.
I know I'm the TOS fan, but you bring Cody in for battle lines and you bring me in for storyteller.
This is a little bit more of a TOS episode.
I
really
don't know.
is.
I don't know if you can really put it on the spectrum.
Oh, it's something's on the spectrum, all right.
Yeah, this is definitely a big drop off from the last episode we did. We're kind of right back to season one.
Season one.
So this originally was a story pitch for TNG. I can see why it didn't make the TNG cut, but it made the DS9 season one cut.
Yeah, showrunner was smart enough not to let this go in TNG.
There's really only one kind of trivia piece I had. The map painting of the Bajoran village is from the TNG episode Birthright, where it was originally the Romulan and Klingon village on Khitomer. Birthright is the 2-part TNG episode that I always wonder, why is this a 2-parter? This is not worthy of being a 2-parter. It's the one
Because they
where,
couldn't tell the story in one part. It was too long. That's why it's a 2-parter.
It's the one where Worf finds thinks his dad's still alive, and then he finds this little Klingon Romulan village thing. But anyways,
It was like cats and dogs living together.
Sorry, I think the only thing that I found trivia-wise was it went over budget simply because they were trying to do the CGI work or the stuff for that cloud thing in the sky.
The Dalrock actually looks pretty good, to be honest.
that's
It looks pretty good. It's just too bad that it reminds me of James and the Giant Peach. That's what I go to every time this episode comes. I'm like, oh, it's the Rhino from James and the Giant Peach, which is also a trip of a movie. That's a friggin' that's a wild movie too. But
that's definitely
fun,
one of
though.
the bright spots of this episode. But
I would say that this episode, it's one of the few episodes where the B story is better than the A story.
That's hilarious. That is literally my first point of overall thoughts of this episode was how is the B plot better than the A?
Yeah.
So I have a note here. I was originally had this note at the end of the episode, but I'll ask it now. What is the A plot? What is the B plot? I don't think I've seen a Star Trek episode that ran 2 totally different stories that had 0 interaction with each other, and they both took about half the episode's runtime.
I mean, it's the same theme for both. Save the village kind of thing. That's really the only kind of that's the only thing. But you're absolutely right. There, otherwise, aside from it taking place on Bajor, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there are some episodes where things are happening in a character's personal life that are unconnected to what's happening in the main ship, but the effects of the A plot affect the B plot in some way.
What is the A plot to you?
The A plot to this?
Yeah, which one's the A plot?
The A plot is just the A plot's always introduced first. That's why it's the A plot. The B plot is introduced second. That's why it's the B plot. Okay, that's the only reason one's the A and one's the B. Okay, that's the only reason. But the A plot is O'Brien's field trip with his bestest bud down to be a cult leader on Bajor. That's his. Oh,
bestest bud. It's more like Bashir's new love interest.
Don't you like me, Chief? Do you think I'm annoying? Why don't you want to look at me when we change clothes in the runabout?
I feel like the writers sat and were like, we need to do a Bajoran episode. And we had 2 ideas for a Bajoran episode. And they're like, we'll just make one episode out of these 2 ideas is what it feels like. And they give us a horrible glimpse into Bajor. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not too negative on this episode.
Yeah, this is pretty condemning to Bajor.
Yeah. There's only one part, like the A story. We'll dive into it, but I kind of liked how it brought them together. It forced them to come together. But because it's based loosely off of the Man Who Would Be King story, but it only connects to it in a few points, and they kind of miss the big part of the Man Who Would Be King. And so I'm almost mad I watched this a second time when I had to take notes.
Well, it's kind of an inverted Man Who Would Be King kind of thing. Yeah. Is what's going on.
Yeah.
Something I talked about on the last episode is I feel like I'm harsh on these episodes. The first time I watched this episode, it's fine. It's just a Star Trek episode. It goes kind of in one ear and out the other. It doesn't bother me, but it's on second watch through on most of these episodes where I really start to like them less. And this was one of those episodes. I didn't hate it. A lot of people rank this as one of the worst Star Trek episodes, all Star Trek ever made. I don't know if I'd go that harsh.
This doesn't get close to Move Along Home. It's not even close to that.
I think the problem is like, because especially when we watch it to talk about it, that second time through, there's no meat to chew on. Because the first time you're like, yeah, okay, this is okay, we're getting through it. Then the second time through,
there's a little bit of meat. There's a little bit of meat in the B plot,
but not the second time through.
Like a chicken wing, It's
so. But I was funny enough. I was finding my point with that is I love the B plot more, and I actually think I have more notes on the B plot than I do the A plot.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, the second time through, especially when you're trying to dissect it, like how do we have good talking points? How do we make, interesting conversation about this episode? What really stands out? And you're just like, what stood out was when I kept fast forwarding through stuff and,
Oh, it wasn't that bad for me. I watched it the full way through both times, but.
Yeah, I guess I would have to go with Chris a little bit there. The high concept of the A plot is actually interesting to me. The execution of it leaves a lot to be desired. The dialogue and the acting. Oh boy, we're gonna get into the acting in this episode.
It's kind of like Move Along Home, where it's like, why did you do it like this? You could have done this any other way, but you did it like this.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. So, a teaser, Commander Sisko's office. Sisko records a station log stating that the Bajoran government has requested his mediation in a land dispute between 2 rival factions, the Paku and the Navat, which threatens to erupt into a civil war. And then in Ops, Chief O'Brien attempts to get out of a runabout mission to Bajor because he finds Bashir annoying. Sisko denies his request.
I was wrong. Bajor is the B plot because he introduces the Paku and the Devat dispute in his station log right at the beginning. And because I'm conditioned by Star Trek to kind of ignore the captain's log a little bit because I'll learn about this as I watch the episode. But he introduces that first. So technically that's the A plot. So Bajor's the B, so it's just a bad B plot. That's what's going on in this episode. And I think I thought of it as the B plot because Jake and Nog they're not really main characters, they're supporting characters. It's usually you don't have Jake and Nog taking the A plot, but it was I think they do in this one. I think it is.
So the Bajorans ask the Federation to settle a land dispute for them. We'll get into this a little later. This episode really paints a picture of Bajor that makes it ludicrous that they would want these people to join the Federation. They are so out of step with the Federation's ethics, with their world viewpoint. These people are not civilized enough to join the Federation. Yeah, and they can't handle their own minor land dispute, like 20 miles of a river or whatever it was. I mean,
well, you know how the Federation would handle it, right? Eminent domain. It's our land now. Here,
and we're gonna
have a
give
space
it to
station. You can have a space station with replicators. Take that. The land belongs to us now. We're going to give it to the Picard family.
Well, and I mean, I think the Cardassians really kind of helped bring the Bajorans probably into technology, because I don't think that their technological capabilities were greater or as equal to the Cardassians. So
they were already warp capable, but yeah, it's implied that Bajoran tech is not as good as Cardassian tech, because a lot of the Bajoran stuff uses Cardassian technology.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so like before the wormhole, I don't think it's ever explained why they specifically want Bajor to be part of, the collective, if you will.
Because expand or die. That's why.
Yeah, that goes back to a TNG episode. So the TNG kind of sets the Bajorans up as these people who have been warp capable long before human beings were. And I guess they don't have a lot of drive to keep advancing technology the way humans do. Because, yeah, they get conquered by the Cardassians, obviously, and we're shown that the Cardassian technology is inferior to Federation technology. So...
yeah, but just because inferior doesn't mean not a threat, right? The Cardassians also have a lot larger military than the Federation does.
Right.
Because
I'm
otherwise,
not saying they're not shown as a threat, but they do show us that the Federation has more advanced tracking technology and all
technology. Technology level does not indicate why something was conquered, right? In some cases, when it's a very wide gulf, yes. But like if you look in the real world, World War II, the Allies were significantly behind the Axis in terms of technology for a while. And but industry matters.
Yeah.
So the industrial base is what finished that particular dispute.
Well,
and the Federation has replicators.
Kind of point being that TNG set this foundation for kind of this really interesting story, the Bajorans, and this first season of DS9 does not expand on that in any kind of interesting way. And this episode makes them look like Bronze Age people. And so let's next scene, the promenade. Cisco and Major Kira head to the airlock to welcome the arriving leader of the Paku, Tetrarch Varys Sewell, only to be completely shocked to discover she is 15 years old.
I'm sorry, the one thing I don't know if you guys mentioned it previously, but everything on the station was running smoothly in the last scene.
Yeah.
According to O'Brien, he was not needed. It's him specifically.
Correct.
I want to establish that now at the beginning of the episode. Okay.
Yep. Established.
So this actress who plays Varys Sewell, this is far from her first role. I was looking at her IMDb. She was a child actor who kept getting bit parts on TV shows and movies for years until about 2019. And I wouldn't want to say this about a kid, and I won't, because she's actually 23 years old, playing 15. Mm-hmm. Yo. She has to be the worst actor I can ever remember getting this much dialogue in a Star Trek episode. She is horrible. She has line readings in this that are so unbelievably flat. And it made me think about like bad acting. Like, what is bad acting? Why can I watch? I'm not an actor. I've never been to acting school. Why is it when I watch something, I can tell bad acting and when it's not? And so when I watch her read dialogue, it makes me think about the script when she's talking, like the written word of like her performance. I'm starting to think of her. I'm imagining her reading the script and memorizing it.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes off of. It comes off like someone saying something they've memorized rather than a character speaking. And there's this real magic to how an actor can make written dialogue come alive. So I watch like her scenes opposite Avery Brooks. And when the camera's on Brooks, I don't see Brooks. I don't see the actor. I just see Sisko saying things that Commander Sisko would say. And there's this veil that comes over me, and I forget that I'm watching something that was recorded on a sound stage with a crew and lights and microphone. And, you know, that's the real magic of film. And I watch this actress, and all of a sudden that veil's removed, and I start to think about the script, and I see the fake lights and the boom mics and the bad makeup. And that suspension of disbelief is kind of shattered. And it's something about, I can't explain it exactly. It's something, the emotive nature of how humans speak. We don't memorize what we're going to say, you know? And when you can tell someone's saying something that they've memorized, it
or even reading
becomes,
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounded like she was reading her lines. I agree in a lot of the parts. Like there was nothing wrong, I think, with a lot of her body language and her facial expressions, but her delivery of the lines left a lot to be desired.
Like Nana Visitor in the last episode. You know, I wrote down when we did the episode, I wrote down some of the dialogue and read it back. And of course, when I read it, it's dead. You know, I'm just reading the written word. It does that. All the emotion of it is gone. Like there's some magic about an actor. They bring the emotion, they make it real.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was not a big fan of the casting in this episode.
And I mean, it's not like her character didn't have anything to pull from. It's like, you know, both my parents have died recently. I'm a teenage leader of an entire group of people. I'm here trying to defend the treaty that was made by the river, but the Cardassians moved the river. So therefore, it's our land, but it's not really our land. And I don't know. She had plenty to pull from.
I mean, she was 23, so she was still, technically an adult, but she's still a kid. She didn't know what she's doing.
Well, no, the character was supposed to be like a teenager.
Yeah, the character is 15 years old.
Yeah.
Classic Hollywood.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about because the character's not at fault. It's the actress that's at fault.
Yeah.
For that. Well, I mean, it also could be director as well if they're not directing as well. Because, you can look at things like the Star Wars prequels for that, where you've got spectacular actors that are being directed to act as if they were made out of wood shouting into a cardboard box. So there's probably plenty of blame to go around here. But I will say that her delivery doesn't necessarily sell the scenes, with one caveat. I do believe that the way she's kind of wooden and awkward makes her feel more like a teenager and less like a 20-something playing a teenager. So it didn't bug me as much as I think it was bugging Matt, but I agree that some of her delivery was pretty brutal. And
the other main supporting actor, the guy down in Bajor, not much better.
No, not at all.
So, and there's one scene, we'll get into that. We'll get into that one. So our next scene, we're on the runabout, the Rio Grande, our main runabout. During the 2-hour flight to Bajor, Bashir attempts to make friendly small talk with O'Brien. Heavy on the friendly. Bashir asks O'Brien to stop calling him sir and use his first name Julian, which O'Brien reluctantly agrees to do. Why does Bashir love O'Brien so much? Like, Bashir pulls the old, my friends call me Jim, but my mother calls me James. I prefer if you call me James. Pickup line. That's a pickup line. He does to O'Brien. Why there's no setup as to why he loves O'Brien in this.
So because he struck out so hard with every woman he's tried to go for, on the station. He's like, well, maybe I'm gay. I guess I'll go for O'Brien because a married man with a child has to be ready for something different.
I don't know. The Bajoran girls seem to be biting at it. I think maybe there's something between like medical officers and everybody else, because I'm sure it's just kind of the same way in the military too, where if you're not close enough working together, you don't, you kind of skip the formalities a little bit. It's like, look, we're close enough in rank.
Well, but they're not close enough in rank. Bashir's a lieutenant, and O'Brien he's a chief. He's enlisted. Harry Kim outranks him. Like that. that's the level of rank that O'Brien has.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Though, like medical officer to like engineering or even like operations.
Are we talking about because they're kind of not in the same chain of command kind of thing?
Yeah, like the chief is there in every single like operations leadership meeting because the station falls apart without him.
Right.
Yeah,
if he was just better at his job, though, then Cisco wouldn't have to yell at him.
It's that coffee, man.
Yeah.
Not as bad as Janeway. Thank God. Thank God Brian never
Jane would have shot him. Jane would have pulled a phaser out and shot him. We've got a job opening. We need a new operations chief. This one couldn't give me coffee. That's why Harry Kim never got a promotion, by the way. He was the ops officer and could not figure out how to get her infinite coffee. And that's what it...
Yeah, the scene's written with the idea of Bashir being an annoying tryhard, like desperately trying to seek friendship with O'Brien, but the way Siddig plays it is with so much infatuation. So, yeah. But next scene, Bajoran village. They beam down to the surface to meet the village magistrate, Farron Cog, who is kind of our antagonist in this episode. He's constantly throwing a monkey wrench and everything. But
he's a negative Nancy is what he is.
Yeah, exactly. Despite expecting a medical emergency, Bashir finds no signs of disease. Farron explains that the village is facing extinction because their leader, the Shara, is dying. And I immediately recognize the Shara as the guy who plays the godlike alien in the TNG episode The Nth Degree. It's the episode where Barclay becomes the super genius who melds his mind with the ship's computer. The image of the floating head on the bridge with the funny faces he makes is something burned into my mind. That's why I immediately recognize this guy's face.
It actually wasn't a crazy. That was the same character. That's a Sarah.
Yeah.
He's just doing it from his bed with his magical Bajoran orb.
See, that's why he didn't look familiar to me, because I hate Barclay episodes, so I skip them. So
The Nth Degree, that's an awesome episode. You don't like the Nth Degree?
Episode.
I dislike the character. So it's like, it's one
you
of the,
heard it here.
Like,
you heard it here first. Mike hates people with disabilities. That's what I'm getting from this.
Especially in dystopian futures where we can fix this stuff and you don't have to be like oh no, I'm always sheepish and I'm always this kind of meekish kind of guy. It's like,
here, instead, just take this pill and magically make yourself into someone else instead of being yourself. Nobody likes you for you. You should be somebody else.
Well, this is also
that sounds dystopian, all right.
Like, how did he get into Starfleet? Like, the guy can barely like get on the
Data's a
transporter
toaster. He got into Starfleet.
And this is also like you're working for the
Starfleet
Federation.
Will take anybody.
But you're working for Starfleet, and it's like these are the kind of people that'll be like, oh, you need to go talk to Troy for 3 hours every day for 5 days a week. Yeah, go on ahead.
There's no money. It doesn't cost him anything.
Well, that's my point, though. It's like this guy could get like therapy for like 10 years and still
but he can't get therapy on a starship, okay? And he needs to be on a starship so he has access to holodecks so he can feed his real problem, which is holo addiction.
That would not be why Barclay would get kicked out of Starfleet, because he has AI porn of all his coworkers on his computer.
Whoa.
So suffice to say, that's why I don't recognize this Raw, because I don't like the Berkeley episodes of TNG.
Fair enough.
I don't know. What do you guys think of this little world that they're in, their little village?
Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense that this village exists in a society that also has warp drive. I accept that there are societies with differing levels of technology, right? Because like if you look even in the United States, there are places that still don't have internet or cell phone service, and everything's done like it's 1975 because that's just what the infrastructure level is. But those people aren't like cult chanting in the streets to chase away a magic cloud, you know? And they're not, they have electricity. They have windows and air conditioning. You know, this place looks like it's somewhere in like 1550s Italy, you know?
Yeah. Well, let's take let's take it another step further though, in that same concept of they're not so much as they haven't adapted to it. I think they just kind of flat out reject it. Like,
you think these guys are the Bajoran Amish?
Kind of, maybe a little bit, because I mean the Bajoran people are very spiritual people, and you know what's funny is that anytime like one of the main characters from one of these shows has like a breakdown, they always go to somewhere that has no technology. Like Picard went back to his brother, went back to the vineyard. Worf went to that Mount Kalis, the monastery, and so it's like for some reason they always go to these places that reject technology. That way they kind of like disconnect and find themselves. So I get like the spiritual people like kind of rejecting technology, and it's like my blood, sweat, and tears. I till the land. I make the stuff. I get it having a place in the universe, but it's like fine, but let your house have air conditioning.
Yeah, exactly. Like you should have a replicator in the house. Exactly,
a replicator and air conditioning. That's it. I mean, you know what? The prophets allow you to have.
Because this kind of turns into the Federation is the best, so the Federation way is the best way, so we have to ask the Federation to save us, kind of thing. Again, when like these people should be self-sufficient, right? Because clearly it's been like they say it's been this way for generations, right? Oh, no. They say generations it's been this way. Yeah. So clearly they know how to take care of themselves, but it's like, oh no. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird one. It would make more sense if they weren't Bajorans, right? And I bet that it wasn't actually Bajorans in the original pitch.
Well, yeah, just because the original one, they couldn't find a place for it. Make up a random species. Well, this will work great for the Bajorans. Not really. I mean,
yeah.
So they take us back to DS9. Sisko and Kira host negotiations between Varys and the devout leader Wulban. Wulban claims the 20 kilometers of land shifted to Paku control during the Cardassian occupation, when a river boundary was diverted, while Varys insists that the river remains the legal border. So Quark calls her a little lady, and she proceeds to throw a drink at Quark in response to this. And I know this is exactly who I'd want negotiating for me when the possibility of war and death is on the line.
I mean, that's the point of the episode there, right? She's been pushed into this position and she's trying, this is establishing her as like this. I inherited this position and I'm supposed to be acting like an adult, but I'm still 15. That's what I took from that. I was like, yep, okay, yep, she's still 15. Also, Quark getting a drink in his face, never not going to be funny.
But handling like a true Ferengi and charging her for it anyways.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Well, he charged her double because he had to go get her another one, right?
Exactly. You want to throw drinks at me all day? Knock yourself out. You're paying for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then the camera takes us to the promenade. Aboard, Jake and Nog spot Varys walking by, leaving Nog instantly love-struck. And I ask, why would Nog find her attractive? You know, in Star Trek, sometimes it takes this race-blind utopia to a level of absurdity. I mean, just the idea that these different species can all procreate is really silly. But I draw the line at goblins being attracted to humans. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, but it's already been established in lore. It was established in TNG that Ferengi found more standard humanoids attractive. That's why they kidnapped Loxana, right? And Counselor Troy in that one terrible episode.
Oh, that's a goodie. Yeah.
So
forgot about that one.
We have already established that Ferengi find humanoids attractive. So
and don't forget, Nog and Jake's pastime is watching all the Bajoran girls.
He's got Nog he's got a Bajoran kink. All right, that's what he's got.
He's like, oh, she's a solid 8 out of 10. Like, I mean, everything's come through here. I've got to talk to her. And it's like, oh, okay, all right. But I do, before that one point, I do love how Odo shows up and is like, stop hanging around here. And in true teenager form, they wait till he leaves and they go back to doing it again. I was like, okay, cool. Nice little teenage build moment. I appreciate that.
I appreciate that. The other thing, can we just talk about, so as she walks by, right before that, there are these two aliens that look like they're straight out of Star Wars Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And they've got crazy makeup, like a big like head tail thing coming off the back of their
worm heads.
Yeah. These two actors spent probably 10 hours in a makeup chair to look like that so they could walk across the scene for 30 seconds.
If 30, like maybe 3.
Yeah.
And to get rocks thrown at them or marbles or whatever.
Mm-hmm. But like,
I didn't even think about that. That's hilarious.
Just that's a lot of investment for not a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
No, I know they appear in a later scene, but same deal. They're just walking through the promenade.
Yep. Both of those scenes were shot on the same day, by the way. 100%. Yeah. We're not putting this on again.
So we go back to Bajor. Bashir examines the dying Shara, Bashir examines the dying Shara, and Shara warns of a monster called the Dalrock. However, when the Shara looks at O'Brien, he becomes mysteriously pleased. Bashir informs Farron Cog that the Shara is dying of old age and cannot be saved, causing Farron to panic, because only the Shara can protect them from the Dalrock tonight. At this point, we're at a total mystery.
The boogeyman is coming.
I mean, you're talking to like Federation officers, and it's like, this thing's going to destroy our village. And it's like,
it lives in the woods. It's like, okay, well, we've got phasers. So, okay,
yeah.
bring it on, buddy.
I've got a runabout that can triangulate its position and nuke it from orbit. So where is it at?
Yeah. You say it's in the forest. What forest? You wanted like a big field, right? You can farm some more.
Yeah. We're going to
burn photon torpedo.
Next season, it'll be tilling season. You can get it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a lot of just cutting back and forth between DS9 and Bajor. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, one of the problems that's in this episode is that it is 2 episodes playing simultaneously with each other. That I think that either storyline, if expanded, could have been its own episode without a secondary plot. And it would have been fine. But the way they did this, it kind of like in Q-List, where it felt like they stitched 2 different episodes together. I think they literally just did that with this one, but didn't even bother to connect them. Really, they're just like, nope, this happened.
Which is odd because, I mean, like leading into this, like we know that DS9, like the show, accepted scripts from third party people. You could just send in a script and see if they'd want to turn it into an episode.
Which is crazy.
And they knew that they had to put 20 plus episodes out a season. So it's like the fact that they took 2 scripts and turned it into one instead of like breaking it down into bigger episodes each. That is a little surprising.
So we cut back to DS9 and Nog, the Ferengi character, drags Jake to Varys's quarters to offer her a tour of the station. After an argument about who would ring the doorbell, Varys opens the door. She accepts their offer with a smile after they mention a Klingon freighter is leaving for the Gamma Quadrant. Boy, Jake's pajama wardrobe is terrible. Terrible.
It's really bad.
Really unflattering.
Nog is much better dressed than Jake all the time.
Yeah.
You can tell that Nog's dad is like, you got to look normal if you're going to find profit opportunity. Whereas Jake's dad is like, look, I only taught him how to replicate pajamas and he can figure out the rest himself. If I got to wear pajamas all day, he's got to wear pajamas all day. So, yeah. I just want to say, so they're fighting who's going to hit the door, and then the door opens and it's this, kind of comedic moment like, oh, we were fighting as we're going to talk to you. Jake just straight up walks into her quarters uninvited.
Yeah.
And not just like,
I noticed
what?
that too.
What? No, don't do that. Don't do that. That's bad.
See, I love, but there's this bit again. I love the teenage boy development part of this because just before the door even opens, and I think Nog says it. He says, "Remember, I saw her first. She's mine."
Yeah,
and I was just like, Teenage boys.
Oh, teenagers. Ooh, doesn't it suck that we were once teenage boys? Reminds you of all the bad times.
So we cut back to Bajor. It's nighttime. Against Bashir's strict medical advice, the Shira insists on standing on a rock to tell the story, quote unquote, as an ominous dark cloud forms over the village. His inspirational speech rallies the villagers, causing an energy beam to rise from the crowd and push the cloud back. Why is Bashir being such a nag here, telling him to get back to bed? What's the worst going to happen? He's going to die from old age outside rather than inside?
Yeah. Well, I mean, his job is to extend the guy's life, right? If you're walking around, you're going to die tonight. Whereas if you stay in bed, maybe you'll die a week from now.
Yeah, and they're like, the village is going to be completely wiped off the map if he's not here. And Bashir's like, well, we can make sure he stays alive till tonight if he stays in his bed. So I kind of get him being a little, get back into bed kind of thing. But at the same time, yeah, I let him do his thing, I guess.
Magic energy beam from the foreheads of Bajorans is my least favorite way to fight monsters. Can I just say that? Like, I don't know. This felt like a bad anime is what it reminded me of. It's like, no, with the power of friendship, we can drive away the monster. Okay, yeah, but this is Star Trek, all right?
Yeah.
And the literal explanation for this later is it's space magic.
Yeah, because
they're basically they're using the
tricorder. Yeah, nothing can be scientifically explained by their equipment or tools, and it's like,
and there's such a terrible line. I'm not seeing any. The tricorder's not detecting any signs of atmospheric disturbance. Well, your face is detecting atmospheric disturbance, so clearly the tricorder is detecting atmospheric disturbance. What you're not detecting is the cause of the atmospheric disturbance. Ira Stephen Bear and Kurt Michael Ben Smiller. All right, maybe if you were Smilling less Bens, you would have figured out how to write this line in a way that would make sense instead of, I don't know. He's just trying to say this is mystical, magical. That's what the point of that line. But it's a dumb line. Yeah. It's windy. Like the tricorder would be like, yeah, it's windy. I don't know why. It's not windy. No, it's windy. I feel it with my face.
So aesthetically and kind of the way it's shot, I did appreciate the scene. It's interesting. And this is kind of the one little bit I did have a little bit to chew on here. So a lot of these DS9 episodes have really broken with traditional humanist view of Star Trek, and that they open the world to a religious metaphysical understanding of reality, especially the last episode we watched. This episode whips us right back into a much more standard type of Star Trek episode. I could easily see this being a TOS episode. This is a rebuke of religion and faith as a superstition. It takes a Nietzschean view that man creates God as a pro-social unifier of people, and that when man becomes self-reliant and rational, man kills God. So here we have the ultra-rationalist Starfleet officers who have to find a natural explanation for this supernatural act that they witness. And Star Trek is often about man outsmarting God to prove that they're above needing God. You see that in the Mud episode, the Q episodes, and whatnot.
Or even in any of the Klingon episodes where they're like, we killed our own gods, Yeah. really, really hitting the nail on the head.
Well, this episode goes a step further to say that God is man's invention, that this society requires a belief in God only because they haven't evolved enough to come to the understanding of their own greatness, the way humans have come to the understanding of their own greatness. And it's interesting that I love Star Trek so much because I think humanism, in my opinion, is a bunch of BS. I see humans as these completely flawed and inherently savage beings who only find civilization through things like religion, through these like external forces. I believe the idea that we shed these foundational tenets of civilization, that will somehow be unshackled and free to explore the stars, to be frankly stupid and without any evidence. It reminds me of Freudian psychoanalysis, which teaches you that moral laws and the standard family unit are somehow repressive and cause neurosis, while being completely immoral and degenerate is somehow freeing and will make you healthy. It's taking the truth and flipping it on its head. And I believe the people who preach this stuff kind of live in rebellion against the natural world.
So the only nitpick I have with that is, like, they're rising up against the Dalrock. I feel like the Dalrock more represents a demon or a devil rather than any kind of god in it, right? Because it's coming to destroy them because it hates them. Unless, I don't know, maybe they're wearing clothing of, you know, two different types of fabric or something. I don't know, but it's just
the ancient view of God. That's a more modern view of God that we see him as benevolent. The ancient view of gods were they were often malevolent or they were neither, and you had to pray and give offering to them with the hopes that they would not be mean to you.
Well, but I also think that this episode, it doesn't. I think it's less about, you know, the idea of creating our own gods versus creating our own monsters and bringing the unit, forcing us to be unified. Because that was the whole reason that this thing existed in the first place, was that it was a village divided of hate and anger, and they didn't trust one another. And so, you know, they created this monster to have one monster that unifies them all together. And over time, they forgot about the hate. They forgot about the mistrust. And they just became one people that still focused on, you know, being unified against that goal.
But it also kind of made them dumb.
But that's the humanist argument against religion, is that religion is a thing man invented, that the elites of civilizations invented to control the plebeians so that they would act civilized, and the way humanists arguing against that now is that it makes people stupid.
Yeah, but
I
think
that power should be found internally, like the power of the individual and the power of the civilization should be found within oneself, is how a humanist would argue it.
I see why, but it should be less of the strength of the individual and the strength of the individual as part of the whole. And I think that's this story. Like, even though I really roll my eyes a lot at, you know, this plot, it's definitely does a good job of kind of, you know, giving a good example of how a unified people were able to overcome their trials and tribulations. But the problem that they had is that because they demonized, you know, this being, because what united them was fear, they were never truly able to move forward. And there's too much going on to prevent them from really taking that step to growing as a people, because they're constantly having to fight this one demon once a year.
Yeah, and that ties in with what Matt's saying, though, right? Because it's the idea that sorry.
Just real quick, what I'm saying is not a criticism of the episode. It's a criticism of the idea that the episode's expressing. Like, I can appreciate, because Star Trek does so many ideas that I don't personally agree with. Most of them, like I said, I don't agree with humanism, and Star Trek's a humanist show. So I'm not criticizing the episode for expressing that. It's just my personal view. I kind of disagree with that. Sorry, Chris, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say that the idea of that creating this monster in order to fight it, to unify the people, prevents the people from advancing, is exactly Matt's point.
Yeah.
So
I'm much more of the mindset of finding a way to unify people without using fear and because I mean, I think if we're going to continue as a species,
fear will keep the outer systems in line.
I mean, it's one thing to make everybody else afraid of us, but it's another thing that, like, we're never going to grow as a species if we don't find a way to, you know, get past our differences, come together and move forward. Or we're just going to kill each other, and then one group is going to be left, and then they're going to move forward.
Yeah, I view that humans find that evolution externally through things like society and religion and external things outside of ourselves, rather than just technology and internal things.
the way I always express the idea that I think you're going for here is that humans are at their greatest when they are serving something more than themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. It's not that, it doesn't have to be a religion. It doesn't have to be a country. It doesn't have to be but something more than just the self. It could be a family. It could be an ideal. It could be a charity, but they're serving for something greater for themselves, for a purpose. And that's when humans reach their peak potential, is when we go beyond satisfying the self. And humanism is, well, we satisfied ourselves so well that now we can take care of other people, is kind of how it's presented a lot. Now, you can also argue that they've given up the self, and that's why they can go and serve other people as well, which, I mean, you can argue either way. I'm sure there's people on both sides of the line there, and I'm not here to create a scathing condemnation of anybody's idea of thought, unless, they like the what's that spaceship? The Gunstar from The Last Starfighter. If you like that, I want to tell you you're wrong, and you need to go to whatever kind of repentance ritual you have in your society, because you have sinned, my child. That ship's ugly. You can love the movie, but it's a bad spaceship. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I definitely find connection with a bit of what Matt's saying, in the sense of contributing to a greater cause, greater than yourself. You said it too, Chris. But I think too that in order to do that, you have to be able to reach down inside and find, what can I do to put forth to that greater cause. So you have to find strength from within to give to the greater effort going forward. And when it's an effort of fear of something else, like I think the movie Watchmen does that fantastically well, where at the end it's like, no, you have to be afraid of that big blue monster that can destroy us at any time. And then that's what unites the human species together to move forward. And it's like, no, because if you're in constant fear of something like that, too many problems come along the way. It has to be in a positive goal towards something. Like for us is right now, exploration. Getting off Earth and exploring, more of our galaxy.
Well, I think that, we're going to get in my real personal views, but I think I
ain't got much else to talk about this episode.
I think the evidence of human nature, which humanists will often even admit, the evidence of human nature that we rely on institutions that tell us of higher powers, institutions that give us guidelines for civilization, and that things like the Enlightenment, when they break those institutions, they kind of break down societies. I think that's evidence in and of itself of the reality of the supernatural and the metaphysical world that goes beyond ourselves. That's my viewpoint, but
I'm a true neutrally gray on this one. I'm agnostic, so you're not going to get much of a a strong background discussion on that one.
Mike believes in bacon.
Yeah, I believe in what I understand. I cannot break down exactly what gravity is. I can tell its effects. I can tell what it does. I know what bacon is. I can tell you what that is. I know how to make it.
The big bacon in the sky.
It's like one of my favorite quotes is, "A wise man admits he knows nothing." And even the smartest man or smartest woman on planet Earth today can truly admit, in the grand scheme of all that there is to know, they know nothing. That's what humanity has accomplished. And so there's just way too much.
We know nothing. Why should we even try?
Well, no.
Why should we even try to go farther?
We move forward.
Sorry. No. I'm sorry. I slipped into Nietzscheanism. I slipped into Nietzsche there for a moment. I apologize. Sorry. Nihilism is like the cool thing these days, and I just want to be cool, Yeah. I just want to be cool. Why should I care about my neighbor? Because, we're all going to die anyway. It's not like anyone's going to remember that I was mean to him.
Yeah.
I actually kind of find a little bit of of meaning into everybody being space dust, right? We're all the same stuff, so we're not that different.
I was like Kansas, we're all just dust and wind.
We're going to disagree on that. I hate that phrase.
I don't know. That's fine. We can disagree. I'm not saying that that's all we are, but I find some it's not, comfort isn't the right word, but I resonate a little bit with it. It's like, okay, yeah, we're all just the same kind of people trying to find the best way that we can forward, right? It's one of the reasons, I mean, we were talking earlier about there's all these World Cup people in the area, and I don't necessarily think it's these World Cup people going, oh, wow, the United States is so great. I think it's more of, oh, wow, these people are awesome. I thought these people were super different from me, but they just have a different way of doing things, and they're just like me, and they're awesome. I like people. And I think that's what humanism should be at its core is, you know what? People everywhere have a lot of similarities. We have cultural differences. There's things we're going to disagree on. But at the end of the day, man, we all kind of just want to have fun and have a good meal, and we can bond about that. We can accomplish things when we focus on what we are similar in, when we focus on how we're the same rather than how we're different. That doesn't mean we all need to be exactly the same. I'm all for celebrating people's differences. Like, I celebrate my ability to eat hot sauce and Matt can't, so.
Well, I find the beauty in humanity is the dissimilarities. And I think the fact that humanity is heading towards a uniculture is something to mourn. Which is funny because we're talking about Star Trek, which is the worship of the uniculture.
The uniculture, yeah. I mean, once the internet was invented, it was inevitable, pretty much.
But what's the path forward? Every country explores the galaxy in their own way, kind of thing, or
No.
and then we play Space Risk. Ooh.
The path forward is to break all the computers and break all the machines.
See,
I'm sorry, Matt. I'm gonna have to disagree with you.
On you.
Yeah.
Next thing you're going to tell me is we're going to have to break an orb and make a Syrah and yell at a cloud.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to tell me next. Matt wants to be the old man yelling at the cloud, but this is just a different version of the meme. Oh man, I need to make that a meme.
I didn't even think
old
about the fact that he's the old man yelling at the cloud.
Yelling at the cloud, yes.
I didn't put that together. Yeah,
the Dalek doesn't know the village is strong.
I love how they also give the whole Moses shot too, the big red robe, and he's like,
oh yeah, he's holding.
Yeah.
That's all intentional.
I'm glad you guys noticed that. I'll talk about that at the end of the episode. Well, that's cool that you guys noticed that.
We've got our second talking point for the episode.
It's straight out of the Ten Commandments. Yeah. I didn't look up trivia for that. I just assumed that they were ripping off the scene from the Ten Commandments because it looks just like it.
Yeah.
Well, I think this was the scene, though, where probably the funniest line of the entire thing was when Bashir is like, I mean, for all we know, you really were sent by the prophets. And O'Brien turns is like, I was sent by Commander Sisko. And which, not to spoil too much, but technically they're both right.
Yeah.
True.
See, look, there's your tie-in to the first episode, Matt. You've been looking for it for a while.
Yeah, there we go. I was there the whole time. I just had to dig really, really, really deep.
The real tie-ins were the Dalroks we met along the way.
Yeah.
And the aliens that told us to move along home.
But yeah, just to put a bow on that,
it's just a game.
It's not a criticism of the episode per se, my criticism of humanism, but I mean, almost virtually no Hollywood art is made by people that have a world viewpoint similar to mine. So my thing is as long as they make it interesting and maybe ask ethical questions in a difficult manner, which I think the best Star Trek does.
Yes.
Then I'm okay with it, even if it doesn't express my world viewpoint. I mean, the only movie I can even think of that comes, if you guys want to watch a movie that is like, oh, this is how Matt thinks, watch the movie Excalibur from the 70s. That's my favorite film.
Oh, I thought it was Conan the Barbarian.
I haven't watched Conan in a long. We watched that together. That was an interesting.
That movie is a scathing condemnation of hedonism.
Yeah.
Let's
move on here. Sorry,
Okay,
Mike,
yeah.
go ahead.
My last bit about that though is my last qualm with it is I don't think like that unity that they created in this village shouldn't have lasted as long as it did.
No, they stagnated.
Yeah,
That's what you're supposed to think. I think
it's
with this
supposed,
episode.
you're supposed to either overcome your differences and come together and figure it out, or last man standing wins. Like that's how humans have kind of evolved over, thousands of years, and Bajorans are kind of pretty much no different in this regard.
I think what makes this episode kind of unfulfilling is if this were a TNG episode, the village would have been destroyed and they would have had to find a new village because he would have refused to take part and let everything just do what was supposed to be done prime directive wise. If this were a TOS episode, they would have found the source of whatever made the Dalrock, fired a photon torpedo at it so the people could be free and wave an American flag that they found on the planet from 400 years ago and quote the Declaration of Independence. But this is DS9, where we basically just do nothing and accept the status quo because.
You're right. The more interesting story would have been a struggle for O'Brien to either feed into what the writers put as their quote unquote superstition, or to not do that and maybe they die, right?
Or the village is destroyed and they find him a new village that doesn't have
something serious is going to happen,
rhino.
and he has to make a difficult ethical decision to either
maybe you could find him a giant flying peach somewhere.
Yeah, so he either has to play into their superstitions to save them, or he has to break it, which will cause suffering. Something like that would have been more interesting. But our next scene is in the village square. Shara suddenly collapses, causing the energy beam to stop. The panicked villagers are left defenseless as the Dalrock fires lightning-like beams, injuring several people. O'Brien yet lets out a bloody hell in his Irish accent. The special effect for the Dalrock is awesome.
It does look
assuming
good.
They must have put milk inside of oil or water and filmed it in a weird way with backlighting. It's cool looking, yeah. And the way it shoots
James
lightning,
and the Giant Peach, man.
I mean, they said that that shot was what sent them over budget. That digital effect.
Oh, that was a digital effect?
Yeah.
That's phenomenal for 1993. That's incredible. Wow.
Bashir and O'Brien tend to the dying Shara. Rejecting his apprentice Hovath, the Shara dictates the story to O'Brien and designates him as his successor. O'Brien reluctantly finishes the story, generating the energy lights that drive the Dalrock away. The Shara dies immediately, and Ferencog proclaims O'Brien as the new Shara. So for people that listen to our podcast and they don't watch the episodes, essentially this guy stands on a rock and he retells this story, and people's mental powers, this is literally because he's got a special ring that it's a ring, right? Or is it? No, it's
like a bracelet.
Bracelet, yeah.
It's made out of part of an orb, we find out.
Yeah, it creates this creature in the sky, and the people's mental will has to scare this creature away. So this is what I mean. It's a metaphor for religion.
So if he doesn't go on the rock, does the Dalrock even show up?
That's a great question. That is a great nitpick. Yeah.
Like, what if he just stayed in his cabin and ate Bajoran fruit?
Because the idea is the people create the Dalrock, and then they also have to scare him away. So you're right.
Yeah.
If they never initiate the thing,
I don't know.
The weather looked kind of stormy before he got to the rock.
Maybe. I think you're supposed to accept that it will come no matter what.
Yeah.
But the way they control it is with that bracelet. That's why later on when O'Brien tries to do it, you can't.
How dare you try to make logical sense of this?
That's a great nitpick, though. I didn't think of that. So they ship us back to DS9. We're at Quark's bar. Frustrated Kira orders a drink. It's sci-fi, so of course the drink is called a Star Drifter.
Yeah.
Because it's sci-fi. That makes me think of the movie.
Give me a Cardassian skimmer bomb.
the horrible TNG movie. What's the last? Nemesis. And the drums symbols in the Plinkett review, he makes fun of this. The symbols are like green plastic because it's Star Trek. It's sci-fi. We can't have normal symbols in the future. They got to be stupid green plastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Sci-fi does that all the time.
Yeah.
Like in The Expanse when they have their what do they call them? It's their phones, but they call them something else. I forget what they call them, but they're like this, like a transparent screen. You can see both sides of it. It's like, no, it would just look like a phone that we have today. It would look the same because the function is the same. So the look would be the same. There's no reason to change how that looks. So stupid.
Yeah. Sci-fi gets a lot of goofy things where it's like, hello, human beings are gonna, as far as I know, we're always gonna have 10 fingers, so things are always going to be set up for people with 10 fingers. But Cisco confronts Varys. Varys is the 15-year-old girl who's the leader of her people. Cisco confronts Varys about her unproductivity during the negotiations, bluntly asking if she is there to talk or start a war. He asks her if her people are truly ready to die for the land, causing her to storm out. Man, this is the scene to me that is the actress takes me right out of it. Her saying, Woban is an obstinate fool, I think may be the worst line reading I've ever heard in all of Star Trek. She makes Will Wheaton look like Christian Bale.
I don't think it's quite that bad.
That's either high praise or very low praise.
We talked about earlier, this is the first episode we truly get focused on the Bajorans as a people, and we see that they're so backwards that they still draw borders based on rivers and not on longitude and latitude lines. And
we draw borders based on rivers and not on longitude and latitude lines. Border between Oregon and Washington's the Columbia River, bud.
Originally, but if that river moved, they would not move the Washington border. if that river moves south, which I'm sure
if Oregon was another country with which we had problems and the river diverted, then absolutely like this kind of thing might happen.
I don't think so.
Although it wouldn't be war, it would be more like, no, come on, man.
Most modern borders are based on like longitude and latitude lines, and they're kind of unmoving.
I don't think most are based off latitude lines. I will give it to you that they're mostly unmoving. But most of them are based on geographic features still, I think. Otherwise, you'd get a lot more square countries.
And their leaders feel the need to put on Las Vegas dinner theater level stage plays, lest their entire society fall apart. These are the people Picard wants to join the Federation. Seriously? Yeah.
Look, Picard want number go up. Number go up, make Lizard Brain happy. Lizard Brain happy mean Locutus no give nightmares. Okay? So number go up.
Yeah, this gets back to what we talked about in the last episode with the Kaiopaka dying and having no setup. The serialized parts of this show for the first season, okay? I know it gets better in the following seasons, but the first season, the serialized parts are so bad.
I think it's because they didn't want them to serialize it. I think that's why. I think that's why this is such a struggle.
I think the writers just didn't have experience with doing serialized stories, and the producers, I don't know, somebody didn't let them. I don't know what the deal was that they shoved so many weird, like run of the mill Star Trek episodes at the beginning here. I don't get it. But we go back to the promenade. Varys wants Vince to Jake and Nog about her political burdens. When they suggest talking to her parents, she reveals that they were killed by the Cardassians, and Jake shares that his mother died fighting the Borg. Their bonding moment is cut short when Odo chases them off. And I love that Nog gives the libertarian utopian view of humanity, which is like, you don't need war. You have something they want, so simply negotiate and make a contract to trade for them for something you want.
This is my favorite
isn't a problem.
Part of the episode.
It's an opportunity.
This line is my favorite part.
Well, in an ideal world is how all societies should interact with each other. But sadly, we don't live in an ideal world.
I do love that Nog is the solution, right? Because this is, again, it's the redemption arc of the Ferengi that is DS9, right? Yeah. Nog presents, well, can you profit off of this? And that's the solution.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, yeah. And I mean, because, for her, I mean, land disputes are a tale as old as time. And this solution is a great advice because nothing really changes as the border goes back to the way it was, and they're trying to get something out of it that isn't just untamable land. Like they live in harsh, I can't remember what the topography was for it, but it's a very hard, unliving area typically. And so he's like, well, why not just trade for it?
No, I did like that Nog is kind of the solution.
It's also showing that Nog is an intelligent person, right? Which is important for later in the show.
And Jake's like, why don't we go play baseball?
Well, Jake gives her good advice too, which is I always talk to my dad, which gives her the idea to talk to his dad.
He gives her great advice. I always go talk to my dad. It's like, well, both my parents are dead. And he's like, well, one of mine is dead.
Well, my mom's dead.
How much funnier, though, would have been if she went to go talk to Nog's dad instead?
That would have been really funny.
Or even like goes and talks to Quark, and Quark's like, I can.
Quark's like, do you want a job as a Dabo girl?
Yeah.
Sign this contract.
Maybe my favorite bit in the episode is when Jake tells her when he has a problem, he always talks to his dad for advice, and Nog quickly answers, I asked my dad too. And she asks if it helps, doesn't it? And Jake answers, yeah. And Nog quickly answers, no.
No. My dad, he's really smart. Mine is too, in his own way.
Yeah. The timing, the comedic timing is really good.
Yeah.
Before we move from this scene, though, apparently this is the second time Odo smiles in the first season.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
because we make note of how he smiles in that last Odo episode, of which I can't even remember.
He tells him to get up, and they leave, and he stands there and he goes,
"Yeah,
they did what I wanted. I can go harumph at someone else now."
An interesting character thing, and it's in my mind the reason why Nog and Jake bond is that they're both motherless. Yeah. And the show hasn't really said anything about that. And they've never said anything about Nog's mom in the show, as far as I can remember.
This is normal for Ferengi. Remember, Ferengi women they don't leave Ferenginar.
So that was my question.
They're not allowed to wear clothes. They don't leave the home. It's an incredibly patriarchal society.
Right. So, because to this point, we have never seen a Ferengi female in Star Trek, right?
No. At this point in the series, correct.
Okay. So our next scene... We're back. We zip back down to Bajor. O'Brien and Bashir try to figure out what the Dalrock is. The villagers arrive to offer O'Brien gifts and companionship. When O'Brien mentions he is married, Farron, who's like the village leader guy, insists he move his family to the village. As they exit, the Shiraz former apprentice Hovath, who becomes an important character, glares at O'Brien with intense hatred. And
this is another scene that does not paint the Bajorans well.
No.
Oh, you're the new Syrah. Do you want to sleep with the young women of the village that I'm giving to you as property?
Well, no.
No.
Let's play devil's advocate a little bit, though, and look at it from his perspective, because you've been training all your life to take this role. Your boss gets mad at you because you screwed up one day. And all of a sudden, he's just like, hey, that guy who has no experience whatsoever, get over here. Here,
no. Hovath is fine. I've got no problem with Hovath. I'd probably try to stab O'Brien, too.
Yeah, exactly.
His problem was that he was trying to stab the most powerful person in Starfleet. And he had no chance.
The problem is that O'Brien was not surrounded by his power.
I just feel this episode is so out of step with the rest of the series. Not Star Trek, but this of DS9, because this episode's really antithetical to the direction of the story that they set up in the pilot. Sisko's supposed to be this important prophet to the Bajoran people, and this episode's all about belittling the spiritual concept of their society. So this episode's out of bounds to me.
Yeah, they're just trying to flesh out Bajoran culture and history.
Look, they needed to hit their episode quota. All right, they had to make the episode.
Yeah, they took two of them and put them into one, and they were like, that's okay.
Are you saying they have a quota for bad episodes that they had to fill?
You know what? I would believe it.
First season bad episode quota. Yeah.
The bad episode number has never gone down, the how many bad episodes Star Trek has to have per series, and that's why modern Trek often is so bad, because they have fewer episodes per season.
Oh,
They have to hit the bad episode quota first before they start making good episodes.
But
now we're cooking with gas. That's a great
one
theory.
good episode for every like 6 bad. So that's why it's like every new Trek season has like one half decent episode.
So I'll say it again. Like, the first season of Strange New Worlds was pretty decent. The second season was okay. I haven't seen the third season, but I hear it's pretty bad. Discovery I didn't give it the light of day to. Picard was awful all the way through. Yes, I know it has member berries at the end, but it was still terrible. Lower Decks is the only Star Trek show that's come out that I've been like, wow, I love everything about this. This is a love letter to TNG. I love it. This is great.
We get back to Sisko's office. Sisko records a supplemental log noting that a second day of talks has yielded no progress between the Paku and the Devat. Then we're back in Varys's quarter, Varys being the 15-year-old girl. Jake and Nog visit Varys again. Varys asks Nog, how can you know if opportunity is worth the risk? Nog quotes the 9th rule of acquisition, which is opportunity plus instinct equals profit, giving Varys an epiphany on how to handle her problem.
And how do they celebrate?
To celebrate? I can answer that. To celebrate, Nog pulls a practical joke by trying to swipe Odo's bucket. Nog accidentally trips and spills the contents onto a horrified Jake, who thinks it is a disassembled Odo. The contents turn out to be oatmeal, and they laugh. Odo walks in and catches them, forcing Nog to run headlong into Sisko.
I liked this scene because it was, to me, it was kind of part of the arc of Varys allowing herself to be the child that she is, right? Because she's had to be this adult for who knows how long. And she's 15, and 15-year-olds are not meant to be an adult. Sorry, any 15-year-olds listening to us. I know you feel like you're an adult. You're not. You won't be for at least 10 years. So it was good to see that moment, and her laughing and kind of shaking her head at stupid boys doing stupid boy stuff is some of her most believable acting of the episode, because she doesn't have to say any lines.
But again, I love the teenage boy development.
Yeah.
Again, it's a dumb prank, and it's something a teenage boy would do.
Absolutely. And we were joking early on, like, well, maybe they steal his bucket. Yep, they do. They steal it.
For those that don't know, Odo has to return to his liquid form, which is his natural form, every 8 hours or something.
Every 16
when
hours.
He does that, he goes into a bucket in his office. So the idea is that he's throwing Odo on him. Man, this is a really, really dark and disgusting prank. That's really dark.
Perfectly in character for Nog.
You know, I think the actor who plays Nog is really quite good. I assume he's a lot older than the actor who plays Jake. And I was watching...
Yes, he is.
I was watching the TNG episode, The Battle, which is, I think, the second episode that shows the Ferengi. It's the one where they bring Picard's old ship, the Stargazer, and he brainwashes Picard with a headache machine. And, you know, a lot of Klingon stuff got changed as they expanded the lore from the species from the original series through the movies to TNG. But much of the Ferengi stuff is cemented right at the start. One of the weird cadence things, you know, how they talk like human and they over enunciate vowels. They nail that with the Ferengi right from the start. And the guy that plays Nog gets that perfect, I think. I love the weird cadence he talks in. If you know what I'm saying. Like,
so yeah, Cyril Lofton is 11 years younger than Aaron Eisenberg. Eisenberg is Nog. Cyril Lofton is Jake.
Okay.
So yeah, so Cyril Lofton was pretty much the age that he was supposed to be in the show, and Nog was and Eisenberg was 20 something.
Short.
Yeah, he's just small. He's small and looks like an alien, like all Ferengi actors.
I just kind of love at the end of this, like somehow Sisko's there And they're all the end, like the scene ends with them all just kind of like staring at each other awkwardly for like a solid 3 seconds, and then it goes to the next scene.
Can we talk about how Cisco's dad, his dad instincts are on point. He sees a running Ferengi and just grabs him. No question, nothing, just grab. Where are you going? Where are you going, bud?
Yeah.
See, that's why if you're ever trying to get away, you got to blend into the crowd. Don't go sprinting through the crowd.
Don't go sprinting. Yeah, you got to sneak. Otherwise, Cisco's going to grab you.
Exactly.
So we cut back to the planet, and Bashir distracts a crowd of villagers that are wanting O'Brien to bless a baby. O'Brien retreats
He blesses the
inside.
baby. He actually blesses the baby, and then the villagers are behind him wanting him to do more things, and he runs off because he's like, no, I've had enough of this. Grok got it wrong, Matt.
Yeah.
Only one baby be blessed.
Only one baby be blessed. And the blessing is, I'm sure she'll make you very proud. That is the blessing.
So
She was blessed by the
O'Brien and Bashir have been staying inside the Shiraz house. So O'Brien runs back in there, and he's like, thinks he's by
he's
himself.
dead. What does it matter?
Yeah.
And the Shiraz pupil, Hovoth, surprises O'Brien and attacks him with the dagger. Bashir runs in just in time to help disarm Hovoth, who passionately declares that O'Brien is an imposter and that he is the true Shiraz.
My favorite part about this scene. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the way this guy has one arm on O'Brien's hip and his other arm trying to stab down is so friggin' awkward looking.
Yeah.
That's how I describe this entire sequence. Awkward and embarrassing for everyone involved. From the actors down to the guy who painted the set walls, dude. It's so awkward.
Especially Bashir, because he is absolutely zero help on this one, where he's like, O'Brien, Chief, and he like runs in there and just like,
well, he's just trying to touch O'Brien's butt is what's going on here. He's just trying to get a handful while O'Brien wrestles the knife away.
Like, I mean, do anything. Sweep his legs, karate chop him in the back of the head.
My favorite part about this scene is O'Brien going, don't hurt him. Implying that O'Brien, well, no, because O'Brien wants him to be the Surround. Like, O'Brien doesn't want to, I know why O'Brien doesn't want him to hurt him, but my favorite is implying O'Brien could have taken care of this on his own already, but the only reason it's taking so long is that O'Brien doesn't want to actually slit this guy's throat.
Yeah.
Because remember, O'Brien is like, he's a soldier. It's established that O'Brien has seen and found himself to be skilled at war.
But that's one of those things where it's like this dude is like a tribal shaman and you're struggling. Like, this should have been like one of those like 1-2 takedowns. Like, wait a minute, why are you trying to stab me? And like the dude's already on his back looking up and like, oh crap.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that it should have gone more like that because I don't know. But I think in this episode they wanted O'Brien to be more comedic, and so that's why they did it like this.
Yeah, I can't express enough how awkward this scene is. It's almost comedic how weird it looks. But so Hovoth confesses that he failed to control the Dal'Rok 3 nights prior. He reveals a bracelet containing an orb fragment from the Celestial Temple, explaining that the Shiraz used it to manifest the village's collective fears into a physical monster so that they would be forced to unite to defeat it. O'Brien tries to return the robes to Hovoth, but Farron, who's our village leader, enters and refuses to let Hovoth try again. And again, this is the humanist view that man invents God to placate their fears, that true strength isn't found externally, but is found within. That sounds nice and flowery, but tell a drug addict, yo, bro, if you want to stop taking heroin, just dig down deep. You got it within yourself to quit. Yeah, I don't know. That's malarkey to me. But we go back to Cisco's office. Varys meets Cisco and takes responsibility for the boys' prank. She admits she has been acting rigid to appear strong like her late father. But Cisco advises her that great leaders know when to risk saying yes. This prompts her to realize she has an opportunity for a mutual compromise.
I think she already knew that she had an opportunity for a compromise. This was just her deciding to take that compromise.
You know, we kind of learn in this scene, we learn that Varys is suffering from a severe case of imposter syndrome, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
the root cause of her extreme overreactions. And the key to overcoming imposter syndrome is just to persevere. Whatever you feel
Pretend harder.
whatever you feel unqualified for, just keep at it. Just keep working. If you feel like you aren't good enough to do a job, if you end up doing that job for 3 years, that feeling's just going to go away. When I first started at my job, I used to fret and lose sleep about making mistakes on spreadsheets that might cost the company a few $100s. And now I do projects that are worth up to $1 million and I don't lose a bit of sleep.
Well, it's because you're embezzling the stuff that you're not getting right. Oh yeah, this cost $400, not $300. Daddy's getting himself a box of magic cards.
Sorry for coughing there. It's really just a simple need of experience, which is why I personally wouldn't choose a 15-year-old girl to go alone with no help, no assistance to negotiate a peace treaty for my civilization.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. Like I totally get that it's a hereditary position, so she's the leader of the people, but she should have a regent or an advisor,
Yes,
or an uncle or a aunt or a sister or anybody, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, someone else to support her in this time. But no, go to this Cardassian space station built by the people that murdered your parents and go argue with this big fat guy who thinks you're a joke.
Yeah, it's I mean, look, Europe has a long history of monarchs, getting taken over by children, basically.
Yeah.
They don't send the 8-year-old to negotiate. Yeah, it's
it's
a little
wild.
silly. But so we go back down to the planet. Dalrock returns, and a reluctant O'Brien attempts to tell the story. Because his storytelling is poor, no energy light appears to fight off the monster. Bashir convinces...
I disagree that it's because the storytelling is poor. I think that's maybe a component. He's not inspiring confidence in the Bajorans, but I think it's more that he doesn't have the little magic bracelet that the guys was holding. I think you have to be holding the bracelet and tell the story, and that's what does it, right?
Did he not have the bracelet? I thought he did.
No, I thought Hovath had it.
To be honest, I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I think we're kind of on that same point.
Yeah.
Bashir convinces Hovath that the old Shira chose O'Brien just to give Hovath a chance to save him and regain his confidence. Hovath leaps onto the platform, takes the bracelet, and confidently tells the story, successfully driving the Dalrock away. And Bashir and O'Brien quietly slip out.
Bashir stopping on the way out to see if he can get the number of one of the Bajoran girls from earlier, but ultimately unsuccessful.
I do want to give Bashir that little thumbs up, like, yeah, you helped. You did help. Good job.
Yeah. Is this the first time he's helped?
He's much more important later on down the road.
Yeah.
But it's just like, to this point, you're like, good job, Bashir. Because otherwise, he's just there. He's along for the ride to enjoy.
He's Wesley Crusher, but he's the guy who helps you. Yeah. He's a slightly more useful Wesley Crusher is what he is in season 1. And it's painful to watch.
So we go back to the station. Varys proposes her compromise to the Navat. They get the land, but the Paku retain free trade access to both sides of the river. She thanks Jake and Nog, giving Nog a kiss on the cheek. Odo takes the boys to clean up their mess. Bashir and O'Brien arrive back at the station. Bashir wants to tell everyone about their adventures, but O'Brien states he's had quite enough of storytelling. I mean, O'Brien served on the Enterprise. Becoming a messianic figure for a day is very passé for a man who has accomplished as much as him.
That's a Tuesday.
Yeah. At the end here, Bashir tells O'Brien, "Oh, you don't have to call me Bashir." Like, real dismissively.
You don't have to call me
that.
Julian.
I don't get that.
I don't know either.
It's weird. It comes off weird because there's nothing in the episode that would make Bashir all of a sudden not like O'Brien.
I don't think it's that. I think it's supposed to be him trying to make O'Brien more comfortable. I think that's what it's supposed to be, but he delivers it as like, no, my friends call me Julian, my friend. That's how he's kind of delivers it.
feel like it's more like his side piece where he's like, no, you call me sir in public, but when we're in private.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit of that. Although
Julian. Yeah, there you go.
but I think O'Brien's relieved a little bit that the formality's back in place. So, okay, cool. He's not going to try to grope me now that we're off the runabout.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't want to work with Bashir, man. I don't want him in my workplace. I'll tell you that. Tell you that for free.
Okay, so let's say amongst chief medical officers, like, I mean, I think he ranks pretty decently.
Pulaski's the best one.
Well,
Then
sure.
the doctor from Voyager. Then
The hologram.
McCoy.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh,
McCoy.
No, McCoy's
McCoy's
first.
number 3.
He's number 1. He's better than Pulaski.
I'd rather have Pulaski.
He is one of the best psychiatrists and medical officers in all of Starfleet for his time. Like, there is
but
not
he's drunk
better
half
one.
the time.
And
he's just a simple country doctor.
That's their chief engineer. That's Scotty. There's a difference.
Oh yeah, who do you think he gets the booze from?
How about the doctor who saves Worf's spine and then Crusher gets all jealous of?
Was that Solar?
I don't remember her name.
She's less of a great
actually a pretty
medical
good
officer
episode.
and more of a I need a test subject, and this species that has like backup functions and organs for everything makes a great test subject.
Yeah. If I mess this up, it won't kill him.
Yeah. He was already gonna be paralyzed anyways. Let's get in there.
Yeah.
So that was the Storyteller. We're going to get into our questions we ask every episode. First one being, was there a singular ethical dilemma that defined the episode? And I'll go first on this one. When I first took my notes on this episode, I had Vasir and O'Brien as the main characters. The story and the plot on Bajor focuses on O'Brien. And that's why I couldn't originally come up with a shared theme between both the plots. The journey that O'Brien and Vasir take are totally antithetical to each other. Vasir has to learn to accept her new role in society, and O'Brien is desperately trying to avoid it. And it's like they come up with the idea of, hey, let's do an episode showing Bajor in society, and they jam together two totally different ideas. But later I was thinking about it, and it became more clear to me that Hovath, the guy who tries to stab O'Brien, is the real main character of the story on Bajor. Then both plots share the theme of having to mature to fulfill one's role in society. And part of that maturing is learning to control one's emotions. So that to me is the common kind of theme that runs between both.
My take on it was that you really shouldn't take solo trips with your superior officer, because the power dynamic makes for some weird advances, and you got to make sure that you nip that in the bud.
Yeah.
Hey, so long as he's fixing the coffee machine, he always has, the upper boss looking out for him.
Oh, Brian!
No, there wasn't a singular ethical dilemma that defined the episode. It's hard enough to define the episode, honestly, aside from the main concept of unity or failure.
They want you to say that it's to keep the village together. What cost is worth keeping the village together is kind of what it is a little bit, because that's the common thread between the two, but it's not done super well. So I don't know.
I get the digging that Matt was able to do and find some of that kind of common points between both plots, and I do agree to an extent. But as far as like a singular ethical dilemma, it's one of those fun episodes that what do we call that last time? Weird track.
I would watch a whole episode of just the Nog and Jake stuff in this episode. I wish it was just that, all 44 minutes.
With a better actress playing Varys.
Even with the same actress, it's fine. Like, I think if you expanded the whole thing, it would still get better.
Like she goes back to her village, is like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna take a day or two, go back to my village and just kind of contemplate this.
Discuss this with it, and then Nog stows away, and they have like he goes on a date with her and tries to feed her bugs.
Wait, we're on a date. Why are you wearing clothes in Frankie?
Yeah, or something like that. And Bajoran, not Betazed. No, that's weddings.
Oh, I'm kidding. No.
Roddenberry, a little obsessed with people being nude at events. So, oh man.
If you had to delete one scene, which would it be? Chris, you want to start us off?
Oh man. I think honestly the scene of them on the runabout where Bashir is just being so weird. It doesn't add anything to the story, and it's just uncomfortable. And it's just to set up a joke later where he calls him sir again. Basically, like there's no reason for that scene to be there.
Well, I guess the idea is to help set the foundation of their friendship. Later friendship, I should say.
Yeah, sure. I know they planned them to be friends later, but you still could have done it better. You could still have O'Brien have been annoyed with Bashir this whole time, with Bashir being like, well, I'm loving this. This is so exciting. And O'Brien's like, yeah, well, you're not the one that has to be their messiah. So of course you think this is hilarious, you know? Yeah. I'm the one who almost got stabbed. What did you do? You ate all of my snacks. Give me my snacks back, you little whippersnapper.
I still don't understand why the chief was sent in the first place. That was kind of weird.
Because he's the most powerful man in Starfleet.
So you saved this village from extinction?
Yeah. He's really there to run the shuttle and assist Bashir.
You mean like any low-ranking enlisted?
Well, he is low-ranking.
Let's point out the fact he's trying to pass off the duty he was given to a superior officer. Because he's a chief, an ensign outranks him.
Right.
So he's like, well, let's Ensign Muckety Muck can do it. I might be needed here on the station. And that, honestly, like Sisko's like, no, you're going to go, is totally acceptable. Like, no, I assigned this to you. You don't get to be like, no, make this guy do it. Do your job.
Asking for trouble because
Fix the replicator, or I'm going to yell at you again.
The one piece of gum that's keeping the station together is the chief, and the moment he leaves, it's all going to fall apart. So it's like I don't care. Like Sisko should have gone instead of the chief. Like the one person who's keeping this thing afloat, you don't send off on an away mission. Like
it would have been funny if Bashir had been chosen as a Syrah instead. That would have been so bad. He would have been like, I will take all of your gifts. Give me every gift you've got. And then Sisko has to go like kidnap him from the. He's like, no, dude, you're supposed to be on the station. What are you doing? No, I like my life down here.
I'm saving them.
Yeah, I'm saving them.
Exactly what you're telling me.
I can fix them.
Mike, if you had one scene to delete, which would it be?
The entire A plot, every scene from the A plot, just straight out the freaking window. But if I had to put it down, I really didn't care much for the part where Syrah Jr. tries to kill O'Brien. That, like, I understood that they had to express the point of, the reason why he's not the Syrah. But I'm just like, there's got to be a better way to do this. Like, O'Brien could have just been like, you're his student. Why aren't you up here? And I don't know, just the whole, like, I'm going to kill this Federation officer. And it's just like, you don't stand a chance. What are you doing?
Well, we know that on Deep Space Nine, or at least in Bajoran space, attempted murder is not actually a crime. We've never once seen it prosecuted. As long as you don't actually kill anybody, you're good. You're good to go. Prison rules.
Well, you got good taste, Mike, because you chose the exact same scene I did. I wrote the scene where Hovath, the wannabe Syrah, attacks O'Brien with a knife. It's performed so badly, it's insulting. It was aired on television. Favorite scene? I'll go first on this one. The first time the Syrah does the speech about the Dalrock, it's reminiscent of Charlton Heston as Moses, showing the Hebrews the Ten Commandments and condemning those who won't follow God. Throwing the tablets and opening a cavern to hell. The scene or the lightning blast was very similar. The special effects for the cloud, which we talked about earlier, I kind of assume it's milk inside a different liquid. It looks really interesting. So yeah, the aesthetic of the scene I thought was cool. The guy acting it was cool, and I like that it's kind of a copy of that scene from Ten Commandments. Mike, what was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene was where all three teenagers were hanging over the edge of the promenade and just chatting. and being teenagers, going back and forth. And then Nog, has probably the best part of the episode where he's like, well, if you have something that they want, why don't you just trade something for it?
Mhm.
And it makes complete sense because it's like, it's like the border goes back to the way it's been for hundreds of years, thousands of years or whatever. And we get something positive out of it. And that's when it dawns on her. And she's just like, it's not a bad idea. So that's my favorite. If I were to delete everything else, that would be the one scene I'd keep.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think I go with the throwing oatmeal in Odo's office. I don't know. I just like that. Same kind of reason, is just teenagers doing dumb teenager stuff, but also helping Varys go, oh yeah, that's right. I am a kid and it's okay to be a kid, and you need that. And I think that's something that we need in society too. Kids need to be allowed to be kids, because these days it seems like you've either got the parent that's super hyper strict, keeping their kids just iron fist, you can't do anything, or here, take my phone and leave me alone. Like, okay, yeah, neither of those are correct.
Yeah.
Let them go out, let them make their mistakes, let them get hurt, let them get into trouble, as long as it's not too much trouble, and then let them learn from it and let them have fun. Because they're not going to be able to have nearly as much fun as they're an adult.
One of the parts I love about that scene is when he gets it thrown at him and Jake's like, oh, and
yeah.
he's like trying to like,
he delivers that really well, actually. You can see the horror on his face.
I was like, why is this the one scene?
The confusion on Varys' face, like, what is happening? And Nog is already laughing, you know? And then he throws it and just nails him across the side of the head with the oatmeal, and it spatters all across the back of the set. Like, the poor people had to clean up after that. Like, I gotta get all this oatmeal off the flipping, because it's actually oatmeal. You can see it's straight up oatmeal.
Yeah. No second takes for them.
No, I mean, they probably did a couple takes just because it was fun.
Our next question on the Senior Chief Petty Officer Miles Edward O'Brien official scale of torture. How badly was O'Brien tortured in this episode? On a scale of 0 to 4 lights. Chris, do you want to start us off?
I went with 3.9. 3.9 out of 4 lights. Because, like, okay, maybe a 3.8, but like, we're close to the limit here, because it's just,
don't back down.
Okay, 3.9. I'm staying at 3.9. He's not getting physically injured, but he almost gets murdered. He's very clearly uncomfortable speaking in front of people. Not a fan. And he gets sexually harassed by his boss the entire trip. So it's just the worst. And he hates every minute of it. And the only thing he wants to do is get back to his crappy job on the station and fix the station, because that seems like paradise in comparison to what he's having to deal with on this particular trip.
That is freaking hilarious. I literally have 3.9 for O'Brien. 4 lights for the audience, 3.9 for O'Brien.
For the audience!
Dude, how do you guys have the same... do you guys coordinate this?
No.
But it's funny because it's the same reasoning. My point is, you
guys both had 3.3 on the last episode.
Yes, we did. Yeah, that's true.
That's hilarious.
So he's not having to fix anything, but he can't solve his own problem while his life is in danger. Like, the village is going to be destroyed and you're responsible. I specifically wrote a little bit where it's like, O'Brien comments at the beginning of the episode that things are running smoothly for a change, and that he specifically is not needed anywhere on the station. Due to the Star Trek law that states O'Brien must always suffer, he is made to be the stand-in storyteller for the Bajoran village by the prophets. Everything is now in balance. But as the audience, I'm tapping out. I'm like, no, I can't do this episode. Skip. This is the one that'll get skipped next time.
I remembered this episode. I remembered it. And when it started playing, I literally said, oh no. Because I remembered the episode. I went, oh no, it's this one. I remember this one.
Yeah, I went 2.1234. O'Brien hates nonsense. This was a day full of nonsense. Then you add a long shuttle flight with Bashir. Oof. Right on. Is this episode properly defined as science fiction? Yes, I think it is. That the quote unquote, or I guess that'd be the B plot. The part on the station isn't really sci-fi at all, but the part on the planet is.
Yeah, you need that space magic rock to make it work.
I don't know if you had any deep thoughts on that, Mike.
I said that it's not properly defined as science fiction. And it's because it can be done with common enemies and land disputes. Like, take, for example, with like countries like North Korea, for example, is a great example where they're like, you have to fear the West, you have to fear, the United States, you have to fear all these. And it kind of helps the cohesive bond between their people. So, and there's plenty of other examples out there about one group using the fear of another group to keep their community together. And then the land dispute thing obviously has been going on for thousands of years before technology ever got involved.
Well, yeah, I agree that the part of the story that takes place on DS9 isn't sci-fi, but the part that's on Bajor where they use a bracelet to create a creature in the sky, that to me requires science fiction elements.
Well, he's saying that you could do the same story with an enemy, an external enemy.
If you wanted to recreate this without science fiction, yes, you could do it. But I do see where you're going, Matt. So technically, yeah, you're right, which is the best kind of right. This is a science fiction episode.
Yeah. Who's the main character of this? Kind of spoke about it earlier. I originally had O'Brien and Varys. Varys, right? That doesn't matter.
Varys.
The girl.
Varys.
But it's
girl leader.
I changed it to Hovath and Varys. Those are who I think the main characters are.
Which, tip of the hat, I do agree. I do like the Hovath point you make.
Who'd you have, Chris?
I said it was Nog and Odo's bucket. But like the Nog part, I say that Nog he really is kind of the character that drives a lot of what's happening in the B plot, which is really the A plot, which is really the only story worth paying attention to in this. I think as written, it's supposed to be Nog and O'Brien. I like the idea that it's Varys and Hovath. That's a great take. But I think this was a Nog episode for me.
Yeah, this for me it was Varys. I didn't care about the A plot. I loved Nog being a part of it, and I didn't really care much for the Varys character.
Dude,
but
Nog got his first kiss in this episode. Come on.
Right.
That's some character building.
You also
Nog remembers this episode forever.
This is also the first time you see Odo's bucket, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I believe it is the first time you see his bucket.
So maybe the bucket was the main character all along.
The real bucket where the friends are made along the way.
Overall score. We go up to 5 stars. Chris, what'd you go with?
That's round 2. Not as good as an average episode. Probably a skipper. Saved a little bit by the fun teenage shenanigans happening on the station.
Yeah, I went 1.9999. Not
That's
quite
funny.
a 2. What'd you go, Mike?
15/16 of a star. It doesn't deserve a whole one, but O'Brien suffers plenty.
So did you draw that as a 16-pointed star with missing one of its missing one point?
No, I typed it out in Microsoft Word. Trying to draw on that program is a real pain in the neck.
Yeah, well, we're battling. I got to imagine people that do TNG podcasts, you got to battle through the first season. If you really want to do the podcast for the show, you got to battle through the first season. And you know what? There's been some good episodes this season, but.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Battle Lines was great.
I actually just finished watching the first season. For now, whenever you guys do the podcast, I just kind of go back occasionally and rewatch the episode. But yeah, Duet. I remember you were talking last episode with Cody. That is a great episode.
Yeah, I think we're going to have Leela come in on that one because I think she's going to enjoy the themes of that particular episode.
Yeah, I'm just looking to get through these and get to the second one. Everybody online talks about how good the second one is, and I can't wait because this season has some stinkers.
You know what, Matt? I'm just proud with you for sticking with a project for more than a couple months.
Yeah,
take it as the win that it is.
Yeah.
Once a week too. What's funny is that this is shorter than my D&D sessions I do every week.
Yeah. Well, sometimes if it's a good episode, it can go almost 3 hours, but
Yeah.
this
But
was
this
not a
one
good
was
episode.
not.
This is a 2-hour episode.
Matt's going to put more than 3 hours worth of editing.
And it's
into
only
this
2
episode.
hours because we had some significant technical difficulties in the middle of the episode.
Yeah.
So, thanks for that, Mike.
You're welcome. Thanks for bringing me on for all the interesting episodes.
Yeah, he's punishing us. It's his revenge. This is why you're getting back at us.
Oh no, guys, my headset cut out again.
We really have. What was the first episode you were on?
It was Babel.
Yeah, dude, we brought you on for the 3 worst episodes of the show.
We did. It's
Literally the 3 worst.
I would like to say that I'm not the one who schedules our guests. That would be Matt.
The thing is, I don't remember the episode, so I don't know which one. Like, I didn't know how bad.
Matt,
I didn't know how
Matt
bad,
hates you, Mike, is what I'm trying to say.
I get it. I'm a
hates
TOS fan, so you guys are the TNG boys. I get it.
To be fair, the Bajor plot was a very TOS kind of theme thing. It was done poorly, but it was pretty TOS. There's a sky god, and the space aliens have to come out and save the day.
Yeah,
right?
but the mayor would have been a female Bajoran that Kirk would have seduced, and Spock would have found the power box powering the Dalrock and blown it from orbit, and then yay!
And then Kirk has to leave before he has to pay space child support. Yeah, I know how it goes.
Yeah. Any port in a storm.
If we can do a quick overtime segment, Mike, what are your thoughts on the TOS episode? Oh, the name escapes me. The one I just watched with the time machine on the planet.
Oh, Guardian of Forever?
Yes.
City on the Edge of Forever.
City on the Edge of Forever. Thank you. What are your thoughts on that episode? Would you rank that as like top 3 Star Trek episode, original series?
Top 3?
It's thought of as the best TOS episode.
Original series, I think it is.
I get where they're going with it. I think I think Bones does a fantastic job in that episode. Even, Kirk does great with it too. I don't know if I'd put it in my top 3, but it is a good episode.
See, I agree with you. I watched it, and you know what it is that was such an original concept at the back then, that we've seen so much in sci-fi now that it doesn't have the novelty factor. Because I watched that and I'm like, this is Space Seed's way better episode than this, to me at least,
Yeah. Well, and I think you're right. You have to look at TOS, and you've talked about this before, through the lens of the time that it aired. Just because, there were so many different or new concepts to it. Plus, they didn't really have, the technological ability to make all these wonderful things happen on screen. So they had to do it like practical effects, and the acting had to do great. So.
Yeah, I don't like City on the Edge of Forever as much as I should. It's a very, very well done and well written story. It's shot well. It's acted spectacularly. But it's time travel, and time travel just pisses me off. It is the worst plot device. The best thing that can happen with a time travel episode is nothing.
I did like, however, though, where like McCoy, goes through the portal and there's an instant effect. Like, it's like, no, the Federation doesn't exist. Like, usually in those time episodes in different shows, it's like, we have to go back or else this will happen. And it's like in that episode, it literally instantly happened. It was like, no, there's no Enterprise up there anymore. You guys are stranded on this planet. And it's like, holy crap, we have to go back and fix this.
Yeah. The moral message of it is contradictory because it's supposed to be anti-war, right? Oh, we're more civilized in the future. Because it's written to be an anti-Vietnam message. That's what the episode's supposed to be. But it's like, oh, we're anti-war.
We actually needed to have the war to happen.
Except for when I don't like the people we're fighting, then war's good. It's like, okay.
Well, I mean,
who decides that?
How war always works?
Yeah, right.
War is bad unless we don't like the people we're fighting.
Yeah. So, but
history is written by the victors.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But Star Trek's pretty great. I mean, that show, if you compare it to other shows that were on in the 60s, is so completely unique. There's nothing at all like it before, I don't think. At all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Star Trek's pretty neat.
Yeah. I'll have to figure out how I rank the top 3 episodes of TOS, but yeah.
I would say Space Seed is my favorite. I love Space Seed, the episode that sets up Khan and the Wrath of Khan movie. I love that concept that humans were at one point before, like the last kind of authoritarian civilization that existed were these genetically engineered leaders who had become too headstrong and too,
yeah.
I don't know.
They finally figure out who he is and what he was capable of, and it's like, yeah, you got to go back, bud. You got to go back in the tank.
Just the idea that you put someone in the tank and they wakes up 200, 300 years later, whatever it is, and he's unimpressed with humanity. That's a great concept. I mean, that's really cool.
Oh yeah, well, it's because he's unimpressed by their lack of ambition.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's also kind of the plot of Idiocracy, so.
Yeah, true.
you could be out conquering the galaxy. Everything could be ours, and you're over here being like, we need to share with everybody.
Good Star Trek is good. This Star Trek's okay. The episode we watched for this is, it's okay. It's not as good as City on the Edge of Forever or Space Seed. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Go watch those episodes if you're going to watch something today.
Yes. Don't watch this one. You can skip this one.
Yeah. Still had fun talking about it. Thanks for coming on, Mike.
Absolutely.
And,
thanks for having me.
I will maybe look ahead when we do a next one and bring you on. Make sure to bring you on for a good episode.
Thank you.
Get the IMDb score or something.
Hey guys, we got another crappy episode of Deep Space Nine here, and our special guest.
Just next time we have you on, wear a T-shirt that just says "Why me."
Yeah.
Am I to play the role of O'Brien?
Yes, you
in this
are
podcast?
O'Brien. Podcast.
Mike must suffer.
Oh, fantastic!
But anyways, thanks for coming on, and we'll see you guys next time.
Farewell.
See ya.